So the Mice is so there is a stira. There's a stira like this. You're learning all the time in the beginning of the Maimer that there's Neshama is the ban, Neshama is the man, Neshama is the Atzilus, Neshama is the Bia, and then the Rebbe Rashab legt zu that the Rebbe Rashab legt zu that Neshama is the Atzil, that Atzilus is called Adam. That two Pchenas Neshama is called Zera Adam, Zera Behema. That Atzilus is called Adam. What's the ufta that Atzilus is called Adam? That Adam is Adam Elyon. Adam Elyon. So the Nesif we understand Mitzad Atzmei. That Atzilus is a Lekus. It's that the Inyan of a Lekus when is Gala. But the Pashas which Inyan of a Lekus when is Gala. If you use the Dugma the Nevesh Adam, just to say B'Ktsara, there is the Pshitas HaNefesh, the Etz HaNefesh which is higher than Tzir. Then there is the Keiches HaNefesh which are Inyanim of Tzir, Seichel, Midas, which are Inyanim of Pratis, the Inyanim of Tzir. So the Keiches HaNefesh are not like the Levushim, like Moshe V'Diva Ramaisa, which that is not an expression, and that's not, it's not Inyanim Nafshim. A person could think 2 + 2 is 6. It's not that. It's nothing to do with the person. Mashiach, we speak about the seichel of the nefesh or the regesh of the nefesh. So that's something that's the nefesh expressed itself through seichel. That's keches and that's keches nafshim. But that the parshat dvarim keches nefesh is only connects with the b'chinas atzir of the nefesh. Mashiach, the pshitas nefesh is not expressed through the keches. In seichel is a kech nafshi, but seichel you only have the chitzenius nefesh, the keches nefesh. Adam lekter to Adam le'elyin. That the Keres Nevesh also bring out the Pshitas of the Nefesh. We spoke about this last time a little bit. That through the Keres Nevesh you could have a certain insight, Kaviyachol, in the Pshitas of Nefesh, in the Mehusa Nefesh. So there's you speak about Lamayla without adding this idea that Adam is Adam, that Tzilus is P'chinas Adam Adam Le'elyin. So then the Havana is that the Uftu Tzilus over Bia is that Bia is a Metzias Nifred outside of Alakus Nivraim. Mashiach Atzilis is this galus of the Inyanim Alakus. The Eibish's Chachma, the Eibish's Bina, the Eibish's Gvura. But that's all the Alakus is verbunden mit Tzir. Kaviyachol, the way the Eibishter reveals himself in specific malice, in certain produce the Kenyanim. But the Eibish's Pshitas, the Insof Alakus, that's not expressed through Spheres. Because through Spheres are the Alakus in Mislabish and Kalim, Alakus in Mislabish and Tzir. And Malik to Adam Adam Elyon is that Atzilus is this galus of Elyon of the Ein Sof of Alakus, of the Blig Vol, the Pchenas HaBlig Vol of Alakus. That's also Nizgala through Spheres Atzilus. That's what it does in Kodesh. Then Fraktul L'chora Stira, that on one hand we find that Atzilus is Takalin of Gilei Hel. It's not a B'dugma, so you can say when you get Gilei Hel, it means that it's not a new thing. Briyesh Ma'ayin means that something new was created. It's not an extension of earlier. It's not a Izgalus of a B'china which was earlier. A new thing was Nisabah. Mashiach, when you say Atzilus is in Lashon Hafrasha, and the Aderech L'Gavi Meshav, Atzilus in Lashon Hafrasha means not that you're creating something new, but you're taking the Elyon and you're lowering it down to a lower level. It's the same thing, just on a lower madrega, but it's not a new inyan. So you find the stiram. Tzedechad it says that Atzilus is Gilei Helam, and it's his galus of the Eibishter. The Eibishter is higher than Atzilus, higher than Tzir. Is that the pchin of Erin Sof is nizgala through the spheres. Leidach it says that Atzilus is a chacham ayin timatze. That Atzilus is a new inyan tzesh ma'ayin. That the pchinas hagvul of Atzilus, the chacham, chesed, the bina and das, the spheres of Atzilus are something new. It's not it's not a galus of the pchinas shalmalim Atzilus. As a shal, that's the kaviyachol still. That's the shayla. So here he goes in like this. Where is it? Where are we going here? Oh, here. So he says like this. Yeah, we'll go through this in. Achinin. Okay, we'll see the. Achinin says like this. So he says like the Gabi. So what's the nikud of the first answer? The nikud of the first answer is that there's a avad the fact that the Atzilus is called Adam Elyon. So there's a mile in Atzilus, a benesiv to that Atzilus is megala the inyanim the miles pratis of Alakus chacham v'nedas. But at Atzilus there's a higher in which is megala through Atzilus. The spheres are megala the b'chinas ein sof which is higher than Atzilus. We say that it's yesh ma'ayin that the gvul has no yachas at all, doesn't express at all the b'chinas ein sof which is higher than Atzilus. So the first thing is mechalik is that there's a difference between a mitas ein sof and a lower darga of gvul. That's the first teres that he gives. So the Gabi ein sof mamish. The Gabi the way it's ein sof mamish, amitas ein sof haseviv kolamin, which they call that has no comparison, no relation at all to gvul. So the Gabi that darga chacham yesh ma'ayin. The Gabi that mitas ein sof, there's no yachas between gvul to the mitas abli gvul. Like he says before, when you say that the dugma batzilus mesh ruchish hamesh and ein skenim, when you say gilui helim, it also means that the gilui has to have a certain yachas, has to have a comparison, has to be able to express the helim. In order to express the helim, so the pchinas hagilui, the spheres, have to have some relation, have to have some some comparison to the Ein Sof. When you say that's legabi a lower level of bligvul, which is going to bring behemshech lezeh, legabi that spheres, chachma, chesed, inyan mavul are a certain are mitzias, have a certain mohos, and they have a certain yachas to the bligvul, and they're able to express the bligvul. Mashin legabi mitzvah Ein Sof, so chachma has no relation at all. You can't trace back any remnants kabiyach of chachma to mitzvah Ein Sof. There's no shaykhis at all. There's be'en arich klal. Mele chachma is pchinas yesh ma'ayin. We're going to see that in a minute. So the guy legabi mitzvah Ein Sof. V'gam pchinas ak nikri yesh ma'ayin. Not only a chachma. This is not only spheres that silas. Or yesh ma'ayin. V'gam pchinas ak nikri yesh ma'ayin legabi mitzvah pchinas haseviv. Yeah, we spoke. I just mentioned this last time. What does it mean? You think that there's does Vesemer that there's gimel elemis pratim bri yitzir asiyah. As even versteht, I mean, the Pashas Advarim. The way it's explained in Chassidus is that this Havas Hayesh, this Havas Messiah starts in Elam HaBriya. But the Seder is not that Atzilus Zelakus, where the whole Elam Atzilus is, where the Abish's spheres are Nesgal in Atzilus. Briya is as Cholas HaMetzias. You know, creating a Nivra outside of Elokus, that's the beginning is Elam HaBriya. But the Eif and the way the Metzias, the way the Nivra is Neshav, it's not directly from Elokus, Vert Elam Hazeh becomes a Nivra B'Shleimus. The Seder, Visa Vert is Havas Hayesh is, as first, there's the Briya of a Chemer Pashat, it's called. It means that the Nivra, the Nekudas HaMetzias of the Nivra is created, but it doesn't have any form yet, it doesn't have any distinct Surah, and there's 3 Shlavim until the Nivra goes into a full state of being. That's Briya Yitzir Asiyah. Briya is a Chemer Pashat, that means the Etzem Nekudas HaMetzias is Nischadish, the Etzem without any form of this Metzias. Then the Yitzir is that there's a certain Surah. The Metzias is its tire in a certain Surah. Then there's Asiyah where it comes into, it's fully completed. I mean, it's not Nish the earth after the virus, I mean, that's different quality. Salderech, like I said, when you get to Nivra Kipshute, Metzias of Nivraim, that there's 3 dargas, or three shlavim in the process that the Metzias becomes a Metzias Gemura, Bri Yitzir Asiyah. Al derech zeh, when you speak about the Sheirish in the Metzias Nalakus, from man stammt in the Metzias, the meaning of the Muslim of the Metzias, that the marker for the Metzias is the Kalim, the Kalim of the B'chinas HaKalim which you have in Nalakus. Is this Pasha Samar, there's no Metzias outside of Nalakus. Spheres are Kalim are that there's in of Metzias in Nalakus, which in Nalakus the in of Kalim is that there should be a Kalim for the air. But Sav Kol Sav, the Kalim, the fact that there's the idea of Kalim in Nalakus, that's the marker for this to be later the Metzias of the Metzias of Nivraim. So al derech, like you have 3 shlavim in this havas of the Metzias and Nivra. Al derech, say you have 3 shlavim in this havas of the Inin Keli, the Inin Tzir, which is in Elokus. First you have the Etzem Inin Metzias, the Etzem Inin of Tzir, the Etzem Inin of Kelim. Then you have the B'chinas HaYitzir that the Kelim are nitztayer in a certain Tzir, and then you have the Asiyah, which is the Gemar, the Gili of the Sfira Shalamayla Kaviyach. That's Beifim Koli. So the B'chinas Ak is that's where it's the Schadish, the Nekudas HaMetzias. Adam, the first B'china of Adam. Adam is Tzir. Adam is in of not Tzir as a Nivra Tzir. Adam is via Lekus kum to B'chinas Tzir. B'chinas HaKelim of Lekus. And that's Adam Kadmon is the first B'chinas Adam. So Punkt is if you say when you get to Briya, Elam HaBriya, which is that's Cholas HaYesh. It's not Mamish HaYesh yet. It's still the Nekudas HaMetzias. It's just the Chemer Pashut. So Al Derech Zeh, the Inyan had Tzir, the way it's in Chadish Nalakus, which Sav Kol Sav is the marker for the Metzias HaNivra. The Kelim is the Sibur for the Metzias HaNivra. So the B'chinas Spheres, the B'chinas HaTzir, which you have in Nalakus, also goes through these 3 stages of Briya, Yitzir, and Asiyah. And the first B'chinas Briya is B'chinas Adam Kadmon. That's the first B'china of Tzir. Adam is going to see the first B'china of Tzir. So it's not only Atzilus, which is the Spheres, the way they already come into a full-fledged form of Tzir, of Chachma, Chesed, Bura, Teferes. But even B'chinas Ak, which is the Nekudas in Atzir, the Nekudas in Atzir, we'll see later more Pratim. So that's also Nikra Yesh Ma'ayin Gabai Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. That's a Davar Chodesh. It means the musig of Tzir, the Etzem musig of Tzir, and the highest even that it's able to be Mitzvah, which that's B'chinas Adam Kadmon, is a Chiddush Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish Gabai Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. The guy with the Mitzvah musig of Ein Sof, the Eibishter is ganzen removed from all the musagim of Elamis. The highest and the most edel form of Tzir is a Chiddush Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish. So Adam Kadmon is the highest form of the Inyan Tzir. That's basically what Adam Kadmon is. Spheres in their most refined edel Eifen. In the first beginning, Guduk was you can say Elam HaBriya is the Inyan Metzias HaNivra in the most refined and the most edel way. So Al Derech Za'ak is the Inyan HaTzir, the Inyan HaSpheres in the most edel way. That's B'chinas Adam Kadmon. And Avdem Zokin, that's also B'chinas Briya Tziyesh Ma'ayin Gabai Mitzvah B'chinas HaSeder. It's a problem. Behind B'chinas Malchus L'Ensof. Let's just skip that go for a minute. So that's the Nikra Atzilus. What's it called? The fact that Spheres, Tzir, Gvul, it's called Atzilus V'Adam Elgin Hainu Legabi Ak. Yeah, Meitash Legabi Insof, Legabi B'chinas Ak. Now, so first he says, what's the yichus? The Shalah says that Adam has Adam Elgin, so you want to bring out a certain mile, want to bring out a certain shvach and a certain greatness in Atzilus. So the fact that Atzilus is behemshach to its makir, you say, what's the mile of Chachmeh? That it stems from the Chachmeh shebenefesh. Okay, what's the... It's Chachmeh, and Chachmeh Safar results from the Pchinas HaChachmeh, the way it's called in the Nefesh. What's the Gadlus shebezeh? You want to say that there's a certain Atzilus, Azevot, when that Atzilus only expresses Chachmeh, that only expresses the way it's Mulubish and the way it's Mitzir in the sphere of Chachmeh. Here we're telling you that Atzilus expresses a higher in expresses something just higher than Tzir. But Ak, that's the Makar of Tzir. Was versteht the Meile? So them liegt dazu, Shnikar Gamkin Mishim Ein Sof Ba'Shalom. It's called Ein Sof. Ashal is al derech like a musik of Shema Mush, like Al Tere brings in Tanya. They have a mitzvah musik of tzaddik, which means that he's be'emes tzaddik that has no nekuda of hepech hatayv, ainly yitzhahara, and then you have tzaddik which he has a yitzhahara. But legabi din, Shema Mush means in one prat he has in one prat in his life he has a dimiyat tzaddik. In Pchinas Hadin, the Gabi being Zeiche Bedin, he has the quality of a tzaddik, but he's not the true muhus of what a tzaddik is. In one aspect, there's a similarity to this Pchinas tzaddik. So Al-Derech Ein Sof Ba'Shalom means that Ak is not the Amitis Ein Sof. In one aspect, it's Pchinas Ein Sof. You have to see what it means, but that's... So here he wants to bring out the Milas. When you say that Atzilus Dam Elyon, that brings out a certain aflo in Atzilus that it expresses the Nukud of Ein Sof. Not Amitis Ein Sof, but Ein Sof Ba'Shalom. Why? Mit was is Atzilus? Mit was is Ak Ein Sof Ba'Shalom? V'shul L'mayla Pchinas HaKelim D'Atzilus. You're dealing with, even though Ak is already Pchinas Kelim, it's already Pchinas Adam. Adam is Pchinas Tzir. But Ak is Shalei Be'erech higher than Pchinas Kelim D'Atzilus. Ukmesh Nikra Yam brings out a mashal. Was bashtet the Ein Sof of Pchinas Ak? Ak is of Pchinas Adam. Adam means that it's Pchinas Tzir already. We're dealing with Pchinas HaKelim now. What I'm saying is there is the area which is this Galasa Ein Sof. But we're dealing now the area the way it's Mislabish in Kelim, the area the way it's Mislabish in Tzir. So Ak is already the first Pchinas HaTzir. It's not the Tzir the way it's formed in its fullest form, but it's already the Nekuda Pchinas Tzir. But here he says that even though it's already a Nekuda of Adam, but it's Pchinas Ein Sof, there's a Dimit Ein Sof. And not only it's a Dimit Ein Sof, but what does he add here? Oh, and the mashal that he brings is the Commission Nikra Hayam Mayim She'elim Sof. So that like the ocean is called in the Gemara Mayim She'elim Sof. L'chora has a safe, so we have to understand the mashal. I mean, the mashal is already very funny mashal. The ocean has a limit of how much water it has. Pashas, why are you calling it Ein Lem Seif? Because it's a major amount of water. So why was Hotztam Ein Sof? We'll see in a minute. So he's saying, "My question is Ein Lem Sof, after be'emes Ein Sof mamish." Ukmekin yuven adugma b'chinas Ak. Sh'ime yesi b'chinas Bria legabe Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Mikom kem nikra b'chinas Ein Sof legabe Adrege shematim. Saying this etzem inyan, this is just a general thing. It's not this mashal, but Maim Zikra Maim She'elim Sof. It says Maim is not only not Ein Sof Mamish. Maim is l'chura limited. It's a limited entity. It's not. We can be mishar how much. The Gemara says efshal shar kamet tipes yesh bayam. The fi'erach the eyes of a person. It's a mededik amount. But why is he called Maim She'elim Sof? L'chura has a safe. That the Rebbe, I'm saying this. In Yonah Machar al Derech Zeh, that I mean, this is not my beer. I'll be able to explain it this way. That Rebbe brought many times the same thing. There got to be other things. You say this from a Memi Pano, but the Nekudas Advarim is you say the mashal that the Torah calls man lechem and hashemayim. So it's not. What does it mean? You say lechem and hashemayim doesn't only mean that it was lechem that came from heaven. Lechem and aretz comes from the earth. Lechem and hashemayim means it came from heaven. Lechem and hashemayim means that ba'amitis muhusay it wasn't a gashmistic type of thing. It was a ruchnistic. It was a shemayimtic type of thing. So one of the things that says in the get to man that had certain characteristics that man had that a davar gashmi wouldn't be able to be won't be able to have those type of gedalim. Mashal mayim, it says one of the things of man is a tom of a kol time. You're able to taste any taste that you want. You're able to taste in the man. Now a davar gashmi, everything has its certain mugda, certain distinct color and a certain distinct taste, whether it's sweet or whether it's bitter. You can't have two, or it's sweet or it's bitter. You can't have all taste that you want. Why is it that you're able to taste kol time in man? Because be'etzem it wasn't a gashmi's thing. A davar ruchni doesn't have the agdara of a specific distinct taste. A davar ruchni doesn't have these agbalas. But the problem is a davar ruchni is you're not able to taste altogether. It's higher than tam. It's mushtit from the agdara of tam. But since the man is at this muhus mazin ruchni, came that people living in this world and physical world should be able to experience this mazon ruchni. So when it came and it was mislavish in this world, it had to have a certain tfisa. A person can't be margish something that's higher than tam altogether. So when it was mislavish in this world, it was mislavish in a way they're able to be taim by kol time. Because the pshittus of the man, the way it is beruchni is mehusei mamish, that's not able to be experienced in Elam Hazeh. So when it came to be experienced in this world, it came to the person in a way that tam by kol time. What I'm saying is, you have certain things. The fact, you say, every single thing has its size. For example, every nivra has its size. The mayim have a size that's not in proportionate to other type of. The ocean has a zag gadlus, such a unproportionate size. There got to be other nivraim. That be'etzim tzadik darim of Elam Hazeh, tzadik darim of nivraim, it shouldn't have been that big. Mitzad the nature and the way the character, the way Elam Hazeh works. The water shouldn't have such a espashtus, such a takeif, such a grace that it has been sadik darim of Elam Hazeh. So man and stammt is the geidela hamida of the mayim, because be'etzem mayim is mushrish in a lakus which is higher than gvul, higher than mido gvul. But the lakus which is higher than mido gvul can't be expressed in this physical world. Elam Hazeh is mugbal. So vi gets chares in this world something which is higher than mido gvul, that it's higher than the regular proportions. So b'chitzenius it looks like the whole yichus of water of the ocean is that it's higher than the regular proportions. But the fact that it's higher than it's beyond the regular sizes, the regular proportions of a nivra in Elam Hazeh is because amitis muhusay, it's not one of the nivraim in Elam Hazeh. It's a higher muhus which is expressing itself in Elam Hazeh. Since the higher muhus being expressing itself in Elam Hazeh, so it has to have some type of shear. If it has no shear, Elam Hazeh is gvul. If it has no shear at all, so there's no way for the nivra to be able to experience it. In Elam Hazeh, there can't be a nivra which has no shear. Then it's not involved. If it's a davar gashmi, it has to have a shear. But since it's the way the muhus, the way it is higher than seer, being expressed, coming down in a way that you should be able to have a hargosh in something which is higher than gvul, the mela, the way it's misbated Elam Hazeh is that it's beyond the regular mido gvul. If I state as in many ways, there brings this Indian in many ifan. One of the things famous, Adam Gills, gehört them all. Adam Gills of Sirs B'Shamayim. You gehört wegen them. There brings the pasuk says that there was Adam G'daylis u'B'Tzuras B'Shamayim. When they get to the Yidden conquering the cities, Adam G'daylis u'B'Tzuras B'Shamayim. There was a Zalcha starke Shtet that they went till the sky, the Shtet. So the shaila is the pile. The Gemara says about this. The Gemara says that this pasuk that divra kasev divrei guzma divrei avai. The Gemara brings different. The Gemara said the psukim in Torah there's exaggeration. So the pasuk says that the cities went up all the way to the skies, and the Shaykh says after the cities went up all the way to the sky. The pile they had a certain limit. A person can't build a city to the sky. So the pasuk is gered divrei guzma divrei avai. The shaila is the pasuk is teras emes. So how could you say that the pasuk Torah is saying it's the divrei guzma divrei avai was means? So the Memi Pano says that be'amitis inyanim they were ardim which were gdelis absiras b'shamayim, that they were beyond mido gvul. They reached to the sky. The way these, in other words, there's a certain chayzik and gvura, a getlich gvura. There's a gvura and the might of a nivra, and there's the powerful city according to Gdarim of Elam Hazeh. Then there's the Eibish's power, the Eibish's gvura, which is a different type of gvura legami. It's blig vol gvura, blig vol tekev. The takeoff of these Ardim Tzuris, be'etzem, it wasn't the regular Nivra's Gvura. It was the Gvura Shalamayla. But the Gvura, so Bamitis Mahusay, it was Ardim Gdels Vashamayim. So the Mahus of these takeoff of these Ardim, be'etzem, they were Ardim which were so strong, Al Derech told the sky. No Nivra is able to, there's no Nivra is able to reach these Ardim. It's told the sky. Lepel Mamash Ne'elam Hazeh, didn't this world, when the takeoff Shalamayla was Nisbat in this world, so the whole takeoff can't be expressed in this world. It can't be expressed fully because Gvura Shalamayla is b'chlal beyond B'did Vagbala. If the Gvura is being expressed and is being mislabish, and is being misgalit, and is being materialized in Elam Hazeh, it's going to have a certain mido Gvul. It can't be a city that goes till the sky on B'did Vagbalas. So Vu Tzicharez gebracht that these Ardim didn't have stamazeh a takeoff of a nivra, that the takeoff Shalamayla, a takeoff of the Eibish's takeoff, that was nisbat in them, that they were beyond proportion. The takeoff was beyond proportion to regular nivra type of portions. There's certain gvura and certain takeoff that al pigidra and nevram, certain things that are weaker, certain things that are stronger. This was a strength shalei lefiyarich. Bereshis you have bnei elikim, the people that came from Malachim, they were a different proportion Lagamri. Malachim have no tzir at all. But you have people that they're creatures, then you have creatures that are Malachim, which ended up coming into a tzir of Bnei Adam. If they're in a tzir of Bnei Adam, they have to have a tzir of Bnei Adam, so they were people. But there are people unproportionately big. A malach is not unproportionately big. He's b'chlam not mugbal in the middle of a shir of a guf. But when the malach, when this mahus ruchni is being mislabish, he's being experienced, he's being expressed in this physical world, he's going to have physical gdarim, but not according to the regular gdarim. You have many things there. This means ein sof ba'ashala that ak adam kadmin is you'll see the beer later, but it means ein sof ba'ashala is it's not a mahus of tzir, it's not a regular mahus of tzir. It's the way Ein Sof comes into the world of Tzir. But it's not Ein Sof the way Ein Sof is Ba'amitis Muhusay, the way is B'pshitusay Amiti. It's the Musig of Blik Vol, the way it expresses itself in the Musig of Tzir. Which we'll see the touch. That's what it means Ein Sof Ba'ash'Allah. Why? Be'etzim it's Akez Adam Kadm, it's P'chin of Tzir. But it's a Tzir, since it's not Stam Tzir, it's the way the Blik Vol comes into the realm of Tzir. So the Tzir is not, there's a certain akud of higher than the regular Medidus Vagbolos of Vol in the P'chin of Ak.
In the beginning of the mind, didn't we bring examples of how Ein Sof could come into Tzir? For example, the sun.
Yeah, but that's we brought examples of Ein Sof coming into Tzir.
What they do, the sun's Tmidus now and different.
Okay, but that's the Akedah says there's an Kudus a Blik Vol in Welt. Good, you have to understand what the Shadish is. He's coming to explain what the Shadish Advarim is. That's what he's coming to explain what the Shadish is that you have it's Chazak and Kiyem Ibadah. That's what's coming to explain what the Shadish Makar is. That's what Mair is coming to explain. But here he's saying when they get enough of Spheres Atzilus. Okay, but he brings a stir. He brings a stir. First he brings a Atzilus is that the Ein Sof Shalom Alim Atzilus is his God in Atzilus. But the Pel steht nicht, es steht that Atzilus is a Yesh Ma'ayin. That the Gvul doesn't express the Gvul. The Gvul has no Erech Klal. So that's getting in another claim. That's what we're starting to go through. That the first tivot that he says is a certain musig of Ein Sof, which is expressed in Atzilus. But the mitzvah Ein Sof is far beyond being able to be expressed in Atzilus. That's what he's starting to go through. That's what he's starting to adrug in the minyan. We'll see what he's.
Is there a marker for that?
Never brings it. I'm saying it should. To look in the hadron of a couple of times, never brings this word.
You can go back to the words?
Yeah, we'll go back to the words. Let me get the first the Gofeini.
What's the
What do you mean? What do you mean? This all is up. The Gabi Amitis Ein Sof, the Gvul has no Erech Klal Gabi the Blik, and it's Al Derech Yishmayin Mamish. It's a new Metzius. No hemshach to the Ein Sof. The Gabi a lower version of the Ein Sof Kaviyachol. So it is. So what's the shayla? So it's Megal a certain musik of Blik Gvul, but the Blik Gvul of Ak, not the Blik Gvul of Ein Sof.
Which Blik Gvul of Ak is Gvul.
It's not a Mitis of Blik Gvul. It's not Gvul. No, that's what I'm saying. He says Ein Sof Ba'ashal. That means that it's Ein Sof the way it comes into. It's not. There's Gvul. There's Chacham Chesed Gvul Teferes. Ak is not Gvul. Ak is the Ein Sof the way it relates to the musik of Gvul. That we're going to see. Yeah, it's not a Mitis Ein Sof. It's the Ein Sof the way it relates to Gvul. Not a Mitis Ein Sof. That's why he's saying Gvul. We're saying an Uftu over here. As without Adam al Elin, I would say that Atzilus is only mitzvah, is only brings out the Kava Gvul that there is in Elokus. Not the Ein Sof of Elokus, not the Blik Gvul of Elokus. Adam Tuturuf that Atzilus does express the Blik Gvul of Elokus. Which Darga of Blik Gvul? The Blik Gvul, which is connected to Chatchilut Gvul. That's the Emes says it. But without this, Atzilus is Gvul. It's Chachma. What does Chachma contain? Chachma contains the wisdom of the Nefesh, not more. And the Nefesh, the way it relates to the Musik of Chachma. Like there too, that Atzilus doesn't only relate to the Musik of Chachma the way it's in the Nefesh. Atzilus also expresses the Pshittas of the Nefesh. Which Musik of Pshittas? Not the Midas of Pshittas. The Pshittas, the way it's connected to the Musik of Gvul. That we'll see. It's going to be about. He's going to say. K'mei k'nyuva nadug m'chinas ak, sh'ime yesef m'chinas bria legabe Ein Sof, legabe Midas Ein Sof ak es m'chinas bria, mikom ke nikra m'chinas Ein Sof legabe madrege shalom atim. It's called B'chinas Ein Sof. It means he's calling, this is not his Mishnah B'tzanos. He's calling Atzilus, he's calling Adam Kat B'chinas Ein Sof. So it's Blig Vol Legabi B'chinas of Atzilus. He didn't explain. Ukiyodua, the Ak Nik, Vu Zet when the Ak is called, is B'chinas Ein Sof Legabi B'chinas Shalmatim. Ukiyodua, the Ak Nikra Er Kloli. Shekelo Kol HaIshtalshus Mirishka Dagan Tzivka Dam B'chinas Hashua Mamish. In Ak, alle Elamis Atzilus, alle Elamis, the Hechste Elamis, it's all Hashua Legabi B'chinas Hashua. If Ak is Tzir, the Gabi Tzir, the Tzir of Chachma Atzilus, and the Tzir of Yesh, is Shalei Berach Klal. How the Gabi Ak is a Chachma Atzilus and a Tzir B'Hashua Mamish. Kol Seder Shashlus is Nichal and Ak B'chinas Hashua Mamish. How's it shaykh? If Ak is a Tzir, this Tzir and that Tzir is Shalei Berach Klal. How is he killed in B'Hashua Mamish? Because Ak is B'chinas Ein Sof, the Gabi Atzilus V'Asir. So if it's B'chinas Ein Sof, so what's the difference between B'chinas Ak with Amitas Ein Sof? Does that happen then? What I'm saying, but that's okay. Let's see. He wants to bring out the flow of B'chinas Ak. Because it's Chai and the Ak column Yutzviris. But Kulam Nikra Ein Sof Erechil Matzilus. We come to the Yesuf, and suddenly the Bri Nikra Tzilus Lamal Elam Negav B'chinas Regesu. Rabbi Shadman sign here to Shosh Gdimas Amachvez and Tikkos Amadal. There, I'm saying the point, I would just bring out, I feel I'm saying something that's more learned Tachantani, based on the Chabis living in them. What does the Alter Rebbe say? The Alter Rebbe says, the Alter Rebbe brings out, when the Alter Rebbe is Mevar, the Inya that Kulak Mikolachshiv. All the elements have no erech, the Gabi of the Kus. The Alter Rebbe speaks about it in Perik Chaf Aleph. So the Alter Rebbe brings out this bit that Kulak Mikolachshiv, that the elements have no erech, have no value, the Gabi inside. So the Alter Rebbe brings a Moshe from the Nefesh. So the Alter Rebbe goes in stages. First the Alter Rebbe says that one dibur, the Gabi Keach dibur is be'en arech. Gvul legabi a greater gvul. You say one legabi a million has a certain value. One is, the whole million is built of a bunch of ones. So you can't, one is not nothing legabi a million. Mashakin one legabi ein sof. One legabi ein sof. One is not a percentage of ein sof. Bligvul is not built from a bunch of ones. Ones is from a bunch of limited ones. You're not going to come to Bligvul. So Bligvul is a different entity legamri. So that's the one ace. The keach dibur the never says yachal daber diburim ein ketz. Can speak Bligvul diburim. So mele one dibur legabi the keach dibur is ein arech. As you talked about there. But that's one level of ein arech. Then there's another level of ein arech. Keach dibur the Rebbe says is ein arech, but it's not. It's just the regular arech of gvul legabi Bligvul. Then there's a higher musik dibur legabi the keachis are amitas ein arech. What's the difference between this ein arech and that ein arech? If there's no comparison, there's no comparison. How could it be dargis and ein arech? So there was a Nakud, there was a by Fabring, by one of the Simchastere Fabrings. The Rebbe brings there. You have one eif and ein arech that you have, let's say, in a regular, you say $1 legabi Bligvul. So always gvul legabi Bligvul has in a certain aspect has no value at all, because Bligvul is a different caliber of Metzias legamri. But leidach, why are you saying that the gvul legabi the Bligvul shalei be'erech? Not you say one eis legabi keich hadibur shebenefesh is bein arech. Why is it bein arech? Because this is only one, and the keich hadibur itself has no limit of how much words it can speak. Yochel adaber diburim ein ketz. But the etzim inyan of dibur is a Metzias. So the etzim inyan of this one dibur, the quality that it has is not nothing. The ein arech is bashtaten then that it's only one. In the ein arech is that it only contains a limited amount of it, and the elyon has the inyan without any akbalos, without any limits. Limit. What do you mean? I'm saying limit legabi with something without a limit. There's no comparison. You can't get from something from one limit bigger till without any limits. Without any limits is different from most legabi. But what's in was bashtet the ein arech when you say something which is a limited thing, legabi an unlimited thing? Not that the thing, the quality that it does contain is something even legabi the bligvul that it has a certain value. You say that it has no comparison at all is that it's limited, and it's not bligvul. That's one type of ein arech. You have another ein arech is that's also you say ein sof. This thing has no limits. Keich hadibur has no limits of how much speech is able to speak. It's not limited in how much. It's the keich hadibur itself. It's a keich to speak. There's no how much. There's no limitations of how much you can speak. Masha'ik one letter is one word. There's no comparison between a limited amount to something which has no limits. That's one thing. But then there's a dibur bligvul is not just that it has no limits. You see, there is about the dogma that if you have ribi offer legabi kesev ezov, The inner reich of stam as a dust, sand, the gabi kesef bezav, is not that this is one and this is blikvul. It's a different eichus, a different mohus. Legabi zav, so the sand has no is not a metzias b'chlal. It's not only that it contains a limited amount of something. That's an is garnished. You know what I'm saying? You say there's one efen of ein arech is not that the elyon doesn't have the limitations of the tachton. Legabi the elyon, the quality of the elyon is nothing, has no value at all. You know what I'm saying? You have a chacham katan, you have a chacham god, you have a chacham that has blikvul chacham. So the chacham katan is be'ein arech to someone that has seichel blikvul. But the quality that the chacham katan does have, that's a quality that we don't negate that quality. He has seichel. The ein arech is that it's limited and not unlimited. But the etzem of seichel is a metzias. Then you say not only you say shtus legabe seichel. Shtus legabe seichel. The chisaron is not that shtus is limited. It's nothing. It's not a metzias legabe seichel. It's not a reality legabe seichel. So Alter Rebbe says the difference between Adam Kadmon and Ein Sof. Adam Kadmon is with the way the way is. You see, Alter Rebbe speak about I'm saying as a mashal. You have the keach hadibur, and then you have a dibur prati. So dibur prati is shalei be'er klal. Alter Rebbe says one dibur is shalei be'er klal to the keach hadibur. Why? Because keach hadibur is unlimited. A regular dibur sentence is a certain amount of words that you invested in this sentence, a certain amount of keach that you invested in this sentence. The keach hadibur is the power to speak. Has no limits of how many words. It has no limits. But it's this Indian anagbalus. It's not a higher realm and darga of Indian legami. It's this Indian without any limitations. Mash'inkin, we speak about something which is seichel, which is higher than the whole like legabe seichel. The whole mitzias of dibur is not a mitzias. It's not a quality of legabe seichel. Seichel is a higher type of mitzias legamri. So the enerich is not just that it's higher, that it doesn't have the limit of the tachton. The mitzias of the tachton is not a mitzias. So there, as I say, ak is every olam atzilis bria. Every olam has its specific form of this olam. Every olam is mukban, a certain form of mitzias. Let's say atzilis is ein sort mitzias, and bria is a different form of mitzias. I see a different form of vakudim, different phases and different forms of mitzias. Adam kadman is the etzem inin of mitzias, not a certain form of mitzias. The etzem inin of mitzias without any limitations of what type of form. But it's mitzias, not something else. Aderech like you have, I'm just going to bring out the point. I'm just saying that's my idea. Aderech like you have keich hadibur. Keich hadibur is there's speaking a certain sentence which has like buzz, and there is the power to speak. He can speak anything. He can speak aleph, beis, this sound, that sound. No, there's no limitations in how much, no limitations in what form he's able to speak. It's the etzem inin of dibur, which has no agbalis in was fara eifen does sein. So mitzadechet it's blikvul, but it's blikvul. It's not limited in a certain inyan. It's not limited that has no agbalis klal. It's not limited in a certain inyan. It's not limited that in the inyan of dibur. It's dibur without agbalis, not higher than the realm of dibur legamri. Al dar za'ak is the inyan hamitzias without the limitations. What type of mitzias? But what's far the mitzias which has to do with the shtalshalos. The nekud of the whole seder shtalshalos. You have there's the whole mitzias seder shtalshalos from atzilis and bria. The whole mitzias of shtalshalos. Adam kadman is the etzem nekud of the mitzias of seder shtalshalos. Not a certain phase and type in this reality. It's the nekudas and mitzias without the agbalas of what type of mitzias. So the gabi ak, you have the whole mitzias seder shtalshalos b'ashva achas. I'll explain this a little better in a minute. When you speak about Ein Sof, that he says Amitis Ein Sof. So the Amitis Ein Sof, it's not that the whole etzem inyan of Elam doesn't exist. The quality of Welt is not a mitzvah. What's the chisaron is not legabi act. The chisaron of Atzilus is that it's a limited form of reality. But the qualities that Atzilus does with Chachma Chesed is a mitzvah. Legabi act, legabi Adam Kadmon. The etzem inyan of Tzir was a schadish act. The etzem inyan of Adam of Tzir. So the idea of Chachma, the idea of Chesed, that it's a quality that brings that all the course, that's Nischadish Tak and Adam Kadmon, it's the B'china of Adam. Legabi Ein Sof Shalom Ma'il B'chinas Adam, the whole idea of Chachma, the whole idea of Mitzias doesn't exist. The whole idea of Milas doesn't exist. What the Eibusher himself is, Leis Machshav Tizabeh. He's Ein Sof. Before there's any Musig of Musag. So there's no Musig of Mitzias, there's no Musig of Chachma V'chesed. We see the way you say in Arech, that before the whole idea of Dibur was invented, before the whole idea of Elmas was invented, B'chinas Adam Kadmon is there was a schadish that there's a quality of Welt. There's a quality of the etzem inyan of Seder Shtalshalos, but not a specific phase, not a specific mitzvah of Seder Shtalshalos. Adam Kadmon is the etzem inyan of mitzvah of Seder Shtalshalos without any agbalas. Versteht das am Thing? I'm just bringing a dogma that you have something which is bligvol. You're saying the word bligvol. You say it's be'en, and bligvol always be'en arechtig vol, but there's dargis in bligvol, and there's dargis in ein arech. You have bligvol. Bligvol is a whole different caliber than vol, but it's there's dargis. You have bligvol, this Indian without limits, or not only this Indian without limits. The alien is a different caliber of Indian b'chlal, and the guy with the alien, the tachton is not a metzias at all. Not that he has the quality of the tachton without the limitations of the tachton. It's a whole different mitzvah, a whole different mahus. And not just certain Indian gans.
How much and what?
Yeah, it's like that. So when he says the Gabi Adam Kadmon is also a tnu of bligvol. But in was besteht the bligvol besteht in them that he's not limited to any form of mitzvahs. So maybe I'll be masbid this prat a little bit better. You speak about. I'm saying when we say the musik. What I'm saying is when we say the. I'm saying we say. So we're trying to say is that it's a musik of pshitas and it's a musik of pshitas of being mushla from tzir, but I'm saying is we'll take even the different ways. This the marshal keich brings out the nekuda a little bit. You're saying there's dibur, but you have the way dibur is unlimited. Keich dibur, but it's other Adam Katan is elamis. But it's Eilamis, but it's the Nekudas HaMetzias of Eilamis. Not a certain form of Eilamis. It's the Guf Nekudas HaMetzias. And the Nekudas HaMetzias itself, the Nekuda of Eilamis is the Pshitas of Elokus, the way it's Nizgale, that it's not Mugba in any form of Metzias. That's what I'm saying. There's Metzias, say there's Shalshalas, and this Metzias has the Darga Achil Yona and the Darga Chit Achleina. Say the Shalshalas is the musik of tzir, let's say. You want to bring out that Elokus is not mugbal b'meile from Elokus, any type of tzir could be. Misad the pshitas of Elokus, any form of tzir is able to be misad Elokus. So, but we're not. So there is the mitzvah pshitas that which is higher than tzir legamri. There's the mitzvah pshitas which is not expressed with them that from him that he's not limited to any form of mitzvahs, any type of mitzvahs could be. He's beyond b'chlal the whole musik of mitzvahs. Then there's as the musik of pshitas wasteness bata in them that any form of mitzvahs Elokus contains. You see what I'm saying? It's a nekuda pshitas. We're not saying that the mitzvah darga of ak it's tzir. It's not tzir. The darga of ak is a certain the way the pshitas of Elokus comes in the mizgaras of tzir. Yeah, I'm just saying a dogma that even when you say bleak vol, but bleak vol doesn't always mean that the alien is in a different caliber, a different mohus than the tach. The bleak vol could be it's this Indian without the akbalas of the Indian. When we're speaking about an ak is not just the mitzias of elamis, the way it's not mugul. Ak is a dark in the lukus, the rots and klali, like I said. But it's the bleak vol of a lukus, the way it's yated, let's say. Ta darger where in vas brings chareis, the pshitas of a lukus, that he's not limited and he's able to contain any form of mitzias. We will say just to bring out this point that I'm bringing out one point of the Indian, but let's just say it like this: that you say, Mashal, someone there's a person has keich hazrika. You're able to. So we speak about how far you're throwing it. You can throw the I can throw the stone 2 ames, more than 2 ames. So to throw the stone further, you have to have more keich to throw the stone further. Masha'inkin is say to throw it to the right side, to Mizrach or to Ma'ariv, to Dardim, to Tzafin. See, to throw it to Dardim, you don't need more kayach, or let's say the Eibush would create a seventh kotze. So the kayach is going to have to become bigger in order to throw it to the 7th kotze. So, till now he's only able to throw it to the right, to the left, to the front, and to the back. If it would be like nachazait, so the energy is able to throw it down, throw it up, it will be another time. It will be another kotze. So the kayach is going to have to be expanded in order to throw it to the other kotze. To throw it further, so you have to have a stronger kayach. But to the left and to the right, you don't need it. So why is it? Because it's not that there's to throw the keich to throw 2 amas or 3 amas or 4 amas. So that there's a certain amount of energy the person has in his hand. So he has enough energy to throw the Evan 2 amas. He has enough energy to throw the Evan 3 amas, 4 amas. throw it left side or right, it's not that there's in the Keich HaTnua, there's some marker to throw it to this side, and there's another aspect in the Keich HaTnua to throw it to this side, and to up and to down, and Mela to 7th cuts, the Keich HaTnua is going to have to become bigger. Legabi sides, it doesn't have the Agdara of sides. The Keich HaTnua is a Keich to throw. It's not limited in the idea of sides. It's not connected. Therefore, it could be in any side. There's certain things that it's just much to bring at this point. What I'm saying is, you say that something. The reason why you could have all the 4 sides is not because it contains and it's a potential to throw here, to throw there, and to throw to all 4 sides. It's because the Keich HaTnua is not limited in that inyan. He's not confined to what angle to throw it. He's not confined to angles. He's not confined to anything. There could be any angle. See, if he's not confined to angles, he shouldn't be able to throw it to an angle altogether. No, you're saying he's not confined to an angle. So any angle is going to be. So it's the nekuda of not being mugdar, not being confined to angles. You say, but if he's not mugdar, so therefore he should be able to be not mugdar at all. No. He has, in one aspect, he's not mugdar. In the aspect of angles, the Keich HaTnua is not mugdar. So, and I'm still saying others are the same thing. Saying Atzilus Ak is Ein Sof. He's not mugdar. But not that he's not mugdar at all. He's not mugdar in the sense that any form of mitzias he contains. He's not mugbal in any form of mitzias of Seder Shalshlis. Not that he's not mugdar at all. So, an Ak is Chodesh going, there's a musig of mitzias. And Ak is that the bligval of Elokus is Nisgale in the realm of not being mugbal in a certain eifen of mitzias. That's what Ak. That's what they're called. Ratzin Klali for Seder Shalshlis. Is the pshitas of Elokus, the way in the marshal, so it's not the pshat that Keich HaTnua is an expression of pshitas in respect to angles. I'm just saying a dogma that something is not confined in a certain realm, in a certain nekuda. It's not the nekuda of pshitas itself. It's not confined in the realm of angles. Therefore, any angle is able to go. So one of the expressions of something is not confined to something is, therefore, it's not limited to one angle. Any angle could be. You say one way, you say he's not confined, so he can't come on angles. No, since he's not confined to the idea of angles, he's confined to how far. But he's not confined to the idea of angles. The mele any angle you can throw. You can throw up, down, back, and right and left. So there's an Ak. Ak is not confined to any form of mitzias. A edelif is a mitzias, a grub mitzias. If he's not confined to a form, can sein alt. From man stammt is that he's not confined in a form of mitzias. Because Ak is also in a certain expression of the bligval of the Ein Sof. But not the Ein Sof the way he is higher than the whole idea of Metzias. The Ein Sof, the way it's Nizgali in them, that he's not mugdar to any of Metzias. So now to use these words is, in Adam Kadam is this Chadish, the idea of Metzias. And Adam Kadam is, wie wird es Chadish the Musik of Metzias, bim Keir Achir Rishin, that mitzad the Blikval of Elokus, he's not limited and confined to any form of Metzias. But once you say this word, he's not limited and confined to any form of Metzias, there has to be already a certain musik of what Metzias is. And after them sagen that Elokus is in was besteht the blikval of Elokus, that he's not confined to any form of Metzias. You understand what I'm saying? Before Adam Kadman is saying the way Mitzad Ein Sof, there's no musik of Metzias. There's the Eivisher, there's Pshittis, there's blikval. And you can't see the musik of blikval that's expressed that he's not confined to any form of Metzias. There is no musik of Metzias. And the midas in of Ein Sof has nothing to do with Bechlal with Metzias. Ak is already lachar at Tzimtzum, where it says Chadish, there's an idea, there's a form of reality called Tzir. And the mitzad, the pshitas of Elokus, he's not limited to any form of Tzir. He can be in any Tzir. But first you have to say that there's a reality called Tzir. And once you have it, there's a mitzir, there's a mahus, an Indian called Tzir, you could say that in Vas, Bashtet, the blikval of Elokus, that he's not limited to any specific form. But mainly from him, there could be any form. This blikval didn't exist. The blikval, the way it is before the tzimtzum is Ein Sof, which is higher than the whole realm of reality altogether. It's the Ein Sof, which the gabe that darge, the etzav in of mitzias is nothing. So it can be expressed in the fact that he's not limited, that he's not confined to these. The Gdarim don't exist in L'chatchila. First, what confined means? Confined means he's not nicht mitzumtzum, nicht mugbonde, nicht mugbonde in the meaning. You understand what I'm saying? It's a different musik of blikval. No, the blikval is the whole idea of tzir doesn't exist. There is no idea of tzir. It's a mitzvah Ein Sof. You say like that's the thing before the gabi dibur and seichel. You're gonna say that seichel the gabi seichel. You say seichel shtus the gabi seichel. You can say seichel since it's not limited. Shtusim is nothing. saying, well, shtusim can come from there. Shtusim is not a quality. It's not narishkeit. It's nothing. Before Tzimtzum, the whole idea of Metzias didn't exist. What's Ein Sof? You don't know what Ein Sof is. Ein Sof is Amidas Ein Sof. In order for there to be a certain in order for there to be the aschal of a certain gili of bleak vol in our realm, first is this chadish, the etzim inyan of tzir, etzim inyan of Metzias. And now it's a shleimus nalakus. The pshittis can be nizgale in this phase, that mitzad the Eivish's pshittis is not limited to a specific tzir, a specific form. But in order to say it's not limited to a specific form, and any form could be from him, forms has to be Inyan. Yeah, there the mashal that it brings in Samadal is that you say there's a pratim, there's keiches aklul benefesh, there's nefesh neise keiches. So keiches aklul benefesh is all there's keiches, there's chachme, chesed, bura, teferes, and there's different dargis in how the keiches are mushish in the nefesh. So we're not dealing with the nefesh, we're dealing with how the keiches stem from the nefesh, how they're mockers in the nefesh. Nefesh is a different thing. Nefesh is a keiches. We're speaking about the nefesh. The nefesh itself is pashat. Mitzad the pshitas nefesh, it has no limits. It's not confined in any form. Therefore, any type of keiches can come from it. Nefesh is the keiches. We're not speaking about that the keiches begin. The keiches akulam is the keiches the way they begin and the most edel eifin. So Chachma begins in a very edel eifin. Chachma, Bina, Gvura, Teferes, and that's the keiches, the way they begin in the nefesh are in the most edel form. Nefesh keiches, we're not dealing with the keiches and how they begin in the nefesh. We're talking about the nefesh itself. The nefesh itself is not limited. It's pshitis. Because the nefesh is not limited, it's not mugdar in a specific keiach. So any keiach can come from the nefesh. But only keiches will come from the nefesh. Something which has no quality, something which doesn't express nefesh, is not going to come from the nefesh. The same way you say when you get keich hadibra is unlimited. Therefore, so any words could come from it. Because any words is considered a value legabi keich hadibra. In vas b'shet the blikval keich hadibra, that any word he is not limited in words. But in order to say that he's not limited in words, you first have to say that speaking is an inyan. If speaking is nothing, so it's not limited, therefore any word to go. And words is nothing. Okay, that's nefesh. There's no keiches, there's only nefesh. But mitzad the pshitas nefesh, because the nefesh is not mugbal, I'll tell you when you get to the keich hazrika. There's no angles in the keich hazrika. There's no angles there. But mitzad, since the keich hazrika is not confined in angles, it's going to be able to throw on any angle. So that's nefesh. Nefesh is the keiches, there is no keiches, there's nefesh. But mitzad, the fact that the nefesh is not confined in the agbala of keiches, any keich can come from it. Chachme, seichel, midis, but only keiches that express nefesh. Something which has stamazech stones is not going to come from the nefesh. It doesn't express anything. It doesn't have any value like the nefesh. You verstehen was I said? So I was saying before, Ein Sof Hashala, Ak is not Ein Sof the way it is, the Amitis Mosik. It's the way Ein Sof expresses itself in the realm where the reality is a mitzvah. So in was gets the pshitas of Chinas Ak is the mitzvah the fact that Elokus is not mugbo. So therefore, any form of mitzvahs, Elokus contains every form of mitzvahs. Why does Elokus contain every form of mitzvahs? You say, why is the keich able to come at every angle? Not because the keich it has within it potential for angles, because it's not confined in the musik of angle. Therefore, Zalder's Ak is Elokus. The Elokus is not confined in any distinct form of mitzvahs. So any mitzvah is able to come from it. But the fact that the Elokus is not confined in a certain type of mitzvahs, to say that is not a mitzvah ein sof, because you're saying already that mitzvahs is an inyan, and therefore what besteht the mile of Bchinas Adam Kadmon, that is not confined to any distinct form of mitzvahs, and any mitzvah is able to come from it. To say that is not mugdar mitzvahs is already saying that there's a mocker for the musik of mitzvahs, and that it's ein sof, the way ein sof relates to not being mugbal to a certain form of mitzvahs. Mashiach and Amitis ein sof, the whole idea of Seder Shlashos doesn't exist. Huh? You can say that it's the Nekudah of mitzvahs. The Nekudah of mitzvahs. Huh? Yeah, that's just, I'm saying a mashal, I'm just saying the dogma.
We don't know the mitzvahs of what's...
Beis machshavat mitzvah. Mit reden mehr praten mit dem.
What's the difference? Like to say, it has to have a different but we go to be in that matter. It doesn't
It does have to be. I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying. If the gvul was garnished, if Atzilus is Chachma Chesed is nothing, then you can't say that mitzad bli gvul there could be Chachma and Chesed. Mitzad bli gvul, it's Chachma Chesed is not Metzias Legabe. In order to say that mitzad bli gvul there could be Chachma and Chesed, to say that Chachma Chesed is an inyan. If Chachma Chesed is nothing, you say in order to say that the Kayach Hazriki could go in any angle. Yeah, in angles, it could throw in different angles, but it can't, you say, because it's not confined in Chveisbas. It's something which has nothing to do with Kei Chazrika. It's not confined in something which makes it unlimited in its realm. You say, what? In Vasbashi the Blik Volavak. Any form of Mitzvah is able to be. It's not limited to a specific form of Mitzvah. That means that the Etzim in Mitzvah is something. It's not limited to a certain form of Mitzvah. But if the character of Seder Shalshlis, the whole form of being of Seder didn't exist, so you can't say that that any type of nivra from this Seder Shalshlis could be Mitzadak. No. Ak is Yishma Ein Mamash have different essence. Because Ak is already the musik of Metzias was his Chadash. And the musik that Tzir has a Maila was his Chadash and Ak already. The musik of Adam was his Chadash and Ak. There's the musik of Chachmed, there's Chabad, Chagas, and there's an Indian Chabad, Chagas. Chabad Chagas in Blik Volefan, in Akudim, in Atzilus, in Bri, Etzir Asir, there's no limit to B'chinas Adam. And Ak is Kel all these in Yana Bashva, because Ak is, the Lakus is not mugbal to a specific form of Mitzvah. It's the Pshittas of Lakus, but the Pshittas of Lakus, the way in Vas Gitzachar is the Pshittas, that is not mugbal in a specific tzir of Adam. But the Etzim of Adam is a Mitzvah. So the Nefesh is not mugbal, and therefore there could be Chachma, Bina, Das, Chesed, any Kaya. But Keiches, not something which has nothing to do with the Nefesh. It's not limited to specific form. It has this inyan without limits. So you have this inyan has to be an inyan, and it has it without limits. Akis, it has the quality of Eilumis without limits. If it had the quality of Eilumis without limits, there could be, and everything's Bashva, because it's without limits. So any maida that could be in Sir, Akis Keilim, Bashva. It's not a certain darga mitzvahs. It's the Nekudas mitzvahs. Jeder versteht doch was. Weiß er, das never is kirchus also. The never is kirchus der Chadam Katem. Never is kirchus is not kirchus. Never is kirchus is the pshitas hanefesh. Is the pshitas hanefesh. Pshitas hanefesh is mugbal, but the never is not insafe. In was besteht that the never is not mugbal, and that there could be any koyach from from the nefesh. Never is not a dogma for Ein Sof Amitis.
Then this case is the way they're ready.
Keres HaKlulim.
Yeah.
Keres HaKlulim is we're not dealing with pshitas in Keres HaKlulim. We're talking about the tzir, the way tzir stems in the nefesh. We're not speaking about pshitas and nefesh. Keres HaKlulim is speaking about pshitas and nefesh, not tzir.
You're saying that Atzilus
Does Dr. Achiddish does. So he's saying over here that it's a Chiddish, that Atzilus doesn't only express Chachma v'Chesed, it expresses the Blikvel v'Lakus, which is nice of the Chachma v'Chesed. So let's say through the Keiches will be Nizgal and not just Seichel, but the Nefesh, which is not limited in Seichel, which is nice of the Seichel. That's a Chiddish. Adam Katan is the Pchina of Blikvel, verstehe ich. Oh, that's a Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish. It's
expresses Blik Vul.
It's after Tzimtzum. It's Blik Vul the way it relates to Elam. It's not the Midas of Blik Vul.
The Nukuda is Blik Vul. How does that have a Shaykhis before?
Who said that's Shaykhis before? It's a new That's true. There's a Tzimtzum. There's a Siluf.
It's not like Atzilus. Atzilus is Shaykhis to both sides.
No, it says Yesh Ma'ayin. Du hörst nicht. Atzilus Yesh Ma'ayin the Gabein Sa. Ak is Yesh Ma'ayin. It says Mefurish. Yesh Ma'ayin. What's Nifrit?
Different, right? Than Atzilus.
No, it's not different. Ak is the same. It's Yesh Ma'ayin. There's no Nukuda Adam. Good. Say it. Look over there. He says here. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Say that. But der Rekord ist verstandig. I'm not saying Blik Volker. What I'm saying is, he says, I'm just touching this where he says, Ak Nikra Er Kloli, Shekelo Kol Shalshus Mereish Kadag and Sev Gadar B'chinas Hashva Mamish. What does it mean that it's Kel the whole Seder Shalshus and everything is equal the way they are in Ak? If you're speaking about Seichel Midis, Keres, which we speak about Chacham and Chesed are two different inyanim. You have the way they are mushish in the highest darga, but they're always two separate things. Chacham is Chacham, Chesed is Chesed. When they say that Chacham and Chesed are b'ashva mamish, that's when you see God, there's a klal, which this klal is neisa Chacham and Chesed. There's one klal, and this one klal contains equally Chacham and Chesed. How's it shaykh? One klal, which is kelabot, because this nekuda is not mugder, is not limited to this form or that form. If you're not limited, you have any form. So then, if the reason why you are contained in is because you're not limited to a specific form, then you're kelal all forms b'ashva. You understand what I'm saying? He says, well, how are they b'ashva mamish? Because the fact that Adam Kadmon is kelal, the whole Seder Shtalshalos, is because it's not limited to a distinct form of Seder Shtalshalos. So it's not confined to a specific type of tzir. So Meir contains any tzir. So the same nekuda is a makar for any tzir. And so Ak is not, the nekuda of Adam Kadmon is not stand dechetimtze to be kelal any tzir. It's the pshitis, the way the pshitis is nice, the whole Seder Shtalshalos. Aderech like the nefesh is a pshinas pshitis, that it's nice keiches, it's not mugbo in a specific keich. And mitzad the fact that it's not mugbo. There could be any keich. There's the Adam Kadmon is kabiyachol the makar klali for the whole Metzias Eilumis. So it's the blig v'lev elokus, the way it's nizgale, that it's nice the whole Metzias of Seder Shtalshalos. Even klali, I'm saying that. The Nekodas Advarim is that according to the first beer that he says, there's Ein Seif, and there is Gvul, Metzias. I'm saying there's in basic language, there is the Gdarim of Welt. And what's considered a Maila Legabi Welt. Chachme, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, Ava, Yira, there's what's considered qualities and inyanim which express greatness in the Musagim of Elohazir, Musagim of Welt. Then you have Pshittas, Ein Sof. Ein Sof is higher than Al Musag. Ein Sof is Deis Mashavat Tisabit. You don't know what he's not being moved. Pshittas, higher than Tzir. So Pashtas, Gvulam, Gvul is no comparison at all. The Hamal stated that Atzilis, that in the Gvul of Atzilis is expressed Ein Sof. So the first beer is, we're not dealing with Amidas Ein Sof. We're dealing with Ein Sof the way Lechatchilit relates to Mitzias. It's a darga of Ein Sof, which is already B'chinas Ak, which after there was Neshava already the Musig of Mitzias. And thus is the Erste beer. And then the next, and Mashiach the Gabe Midas Ein Sof, Tak is Yesh Ma'ayin Mamish, the Chodesh Mamish. And then when he continues is, that Atzilis does express the Amidas Ein Sof. That's what we're going to have to see. Amidas Ein Sof means Ein Sof the way Ein Sof is before being a Makkah for Mitzias. Das geht sein, the Amri Mishlei. Wir sollen gehen weiter ein bisschen zu because till now we explained, we're mamish in the middle of the Indian. But I don't want to stand as a rush through it. It's not good to stand as a rush through because there's a nekuda here that's good. It's one beer. There's the Indian who is just first he explains the etzem Indian that Atzilis is a damal el intar, and he gives a couple of aces over here in the Mailovak. The Adam Kadmon is not just seer, but it's P'chinas Ein Sof Bashal, and it's the Nekud of Ein Sof the way he's nice to the whole Mitzvah. That's you have all the elements Bashva. That's what he brings here. Now, when you speak about if something is Chidesh Yesh Ma'ayin, it's a new thing, or it's Gilei Helam. So you have there's one difference is you say if Vas breaks Chareis, if Atzilis is an expression of Ein Sof, it's an expression of Ak, or it's something a distinct new entity like Ak. It has no erech like Ak. The question is, what's the Eifan Hamshacha from Adam Kadmon Tatzilis? When the yachas of the thing which comes from the makar to the makar is that the dobro was just have him in a makar has no erech to the makar, then the Eifan Havas is through a tzimtzum and through a parsa. He says, Mashiach when it's gilei helam you don't need a parsa. It's one hemshich. So that's where frech l'chor the hamshach within Ak and Atzilis you have a parsa. So that's the chor rai that Atzilis is the kud of chiddush. So that's the gabi Ak. That's the his veininu. Okay, we'll just say hamshach Amshach give him chinas akol adei tzimtzum v'gam adei parsa. Because if the rabbi b'tchilas yiporis kam echad parsa. Pirish b'is chaim shar nekudim shel chinas parsa the ak la tzimtzum neich parsa. There's a tzimtzum marish and then there's the after the ak there's the parsa. Ime is not tzimtzum so the kerla ma'ayin kol ani dem tzimtzum the ak tzimtzum the insof. The tzimtzum of ak is chinas miuter. Avolish mishtana adei zel. Chinas parsa is aver mishtana. Mishkos mishtana. So does Vesemir that Tzimtzum is not mechayiv that the mitzias which is nimshach al-acharat tzimtzum is a davar chodesh. Because tzimtzum it's the same mohus, but it's more ba'efim mitzumtzum yesu. You say a rabbi, regular dogma, the rabbi is being mazber seichot ha-talmid, so the rabbi is mazber the seichot to bal seichot which is lower than the level of the rab. but he doesn't have to give him. He explains it. Doesn't explain them the whole emek of the seichel. He explains them a limited version of the asvar of the inyan. But he's being masber in this inyan. This inyan now with a full depth, with a little bit more bamchasher, or a little bit more being masber. So it's tzimtzum. It's just he's being mitzamtzum. He's not giving him out the whole emek inyan, but it's the same inyan. It's the same seichel. It's the same svar. Now with a whole depth. That's tzimtzum. Masha'inke in parsa is ready enough shemis ava early b'shtan. The dogma chassidus is parsa is the Rav is being masber a seichel through a mashal. When do you have to be masber a seichel through a mashal? When do you have to say a mashal? When is it not enough to explain the inyan itself? You have to bring a mashal. So Chassidus explains it is if you have the dogma is you have the mashal if you're explaining an idea to someone. So and that person is able to understand an idea. He's able to understand the concept. So you can't understand the whole depth of the concept, or you can't right away give him the whole depth. You give him in stages. That's a tzimtzum. So you lower down a little bit that it shouldn't right away express the whole depth of the concept. When you need a mashal, if you're explaining something to a child, and he's not in tune to the world of concepts. So you want to explain, you say call the parish merubah parish. So someone that's is already accustomed to ideas and the concepts, you can tell them that there's an idea of majority and minority overrides or is stronger than minority. Masha'inkin, you're speaking to a kid, doesn't understand the musig of majority, doesn't understand musag, concepts in itself. You have to be mamchashim in a mitzias of a thing. This is 9, there's 9 red and 1 yellow. So if you find one somewhere else, where do you think it comes from? The musig of reiv, you have to show him an amchasha of a mitzias. So that's when you're being masber seichel to a darga, which is not a keli to seichel. You have to explain the concept through speaking about a mitzias, not an idea. You have to leave a little bit the world of ideas and to give over the concept through a ma'aseh, through a mitzias, which is already davar, which is zar to say, not an idea, not a concept in a lower level. To speak about it as a ma'aseh. There's 6 boxes here, 3 red, and you have to bring it out through a ma'aseh. So Parsa brings out they're being masber to Inyan to Madrega, which is on a different level of Gamrit than the Inyan itself. So you can't just explain this idea, this same mahus, in a lower way. You have to transmit the Inyan through a levush, which is shalei be'erach the Inyan itself. So that's the Nakud of Chiddush. Gidei Hela means that we're dealing with he brings a mashal before, like Al Derech Baruch Kainech, that it's the same mahus. The mahus in a higher Eifin or a lower Eifin, but we're dealing with the same mahus, the same Nakudah. Parsa, when the air has to go through a kisui, means that it's not the same. The air has to go through to be transformed, that it should be nizgada through something which is from a lower caliber than the dark of the air itself. So that's the choreb snishtin gans in the nukud of gilei helen. It's already more daimet yesh ma'ayin. That the dark of Atzilis, if it has to go through a mashal, if Ak has to go through a mashal in order for the idea of actually be expressed in Atzilis, that means that the idea, the way it's expressed in Atzilis, is not the same mahus as an Ak. It's the idea, the way it comes through a lower world, a different caliber of Gamri. Like the concept being explained through a story. So we left a little bit the world of concept and ideas. We have to bring it out through a stama as a techna shemaisa.
There's also a person by Insef Tiak.
We'll see later. Insef Tzimtzum Marisha. That's a silu, the Gamri. From Tinain stuff, and there's a Tzimtzum Marisha. That's a different name. So that's the you see he says Muvur Beitz Chaim Shom. In a part of the Shuyuchal Gam Abriya the Kabbalah. Av Shul Atzilis Maspik Hat Tzimtzum Levat Shuyuchal Kabbalah. Can I hear Vagdei Me'akla Atzilis? Which Edi Mishtan there. So you see the Rebbe Shabbat is a kaish. How could you say that it says is Adam Olel into Ak? The pearl is a parsa, and a parsa means a Misava Edi Mishtan. So then Zokter, the parsa is for the sake of Briya. Since one of the jobs, let's say, of Atzilis is to be mamshach the air to Briya, in order for Briya to Mekabal there, it has to be a parsa. But for Atzilis itself, you don't need to have a parsa. So V'mela Gabi Atzilis, there's no shim. So in the Lashon, the way that it says in the Maimer is, the air goes through a parsa. Why is there no shim? If the air goes through a kisui, so then the air is mishtana. But the Atzilis doesn't need this kisui. Okay, that's the different shayla. Maybe, but just the way he says it here, the mashmos is a mashal. You have, let's say, a rav being masber a svara to 2 talmidim. One talmid doesn't need a mashal; he understands the idea directly. One talmid needs a mashal. So the rav is going to say the svara l'chatchila through a mashal. So the talmid that could only be a kabbalah eating through a mashal, so he doesn't get the direct reichkeit of the concept. He gets it through the shini of the mashal. Mashiach the Talmud that could understand directly the Indian, even though he hears the mashal is not ma'idam legabi him, because he could be sensitive to the topic even without that ball of the mashal. So the fact that the Rav said a mashal for one Talmud, that's the way he says it here. He says even though the parse is before Atzilus, but the Atzilus doesn't need a parse. It's maspik even at Tzimtzum. Atzilus is keli to be margish the guf, the etzem eir of Ak. Even though there's a parse, it's not a ma'ilum master for Atzilus. That's the way he says it. But the question is, so why do you need a parse before Atzilus? Legis shpeter. Okay, maybe we'll speak about a word thing in them. Huh? So I can say I should speak about it now. It's not a psagan lying in you.
Why wouldn't we still?
Yeah,
Well, why don't we still need a person? There is a significant change between Ak and Atzilus.
There is another
significant difference between Ak and Atzilus.
Yeah, but he's saying the parse is not the Atzilus. One of the nekudas why there was havas elam Atzilus is to be a mamutza to elam abriya. Atzilus is not a level for itself. The kavana why there was the Atzilus of elam Atzilus was for the sake of being a mamutza and to be a marker for bria. In order for Atzilus to be, if it would be without a parsa, then Atzilus itself would be in its distinct darga. Atzilus would be Atzilus, but it wouldn't have the ability to be a marker for bria. In order for Atzilus to be a marker for bria, it has to go through a parsa. But the parsa is not for the sake of Atzilus. It's in order for Atzilus to be a marker for bria.
Even Atzilus, you're explaining, is very different. Is very limited relative to Ak.
Yeah.
So why don't we need parsa?
It says, but that's what he's being masber the whole time. He's saying that it's Gilei Helen. That's exactly
why is it sensible enough?
He said it's
He's saying that it's not Atzilus is the same horse in a lower eighth. It's not a chiddush. It's not a new thing. That's what he's being masber. He's being masber that Atzilus is not be'in arech ta'ak. It's the same inyan, more b'tzumtzum. That's the rest. The shaila is, so why is there a parsa? So he said the parsa is not for the sake of Atzilus. Since Atzilus's job kaviyah is to be a maggah for biyah, in order for Atzilus to be a maggah for biyah, it has to go through a parsa. Atzilus himself is a keli for because he is higher than biyah. But in order for Atzilus to be mashpia to biyah, so you have someone for him himself, for his level, he doesn't need to have this. But since he has to convey this message to a lower level, therefore he has to go through a parsa. But what's the bar? Let him make the parsa. What does he have to? I'm saying that's the nekuda generally is even before. You say in order to be mashpia something, let's say someone's a keli to the Indian commercial. But in order for it to be mashpia something through a mashal, if Atzilus would have the Indian the way it is with Tarase, then he wouldn't able to. Maybe we'll speak about it next week. This is a vart. It's a little bit of a vart. Maybe then paragraph we get in. I'll just say one word next week, just when we get to this word. Next week, the Morgan is. Azad gabi action, because other the brio. She says shaykhs la Atzilus shnika klali. Oh, so he says Ak has a shaykhs Atzilus. Shnika klali va'arich shala elements. It's like the arich shala. This is arich is p'nas hakeser. P'nas hakeser is the makif of elikus, the bligvo. Adarich like rotzen. Rotzen is not the tzir of the nevish. Rotzen is the pshitas nevish. But it's the arich, the way it relates to elements. It's the p'chinas ha-bligvo, which is noise all the metzias elements. So it's the bligvo, the way it relates, that it's not limited to the specific form of the metzias elements. As Arishon Mela has a shay, avalik b'chinas eretz of shel ma'ila mi'ak. That's the p'chinis avak. Okay, that's connected to the argo before. So nikra chochma yesh ma'in. V'gam adam kadven ikabri the gamedus. The gabi that mitas ein sof, the whole musig of metzias is a chiddush gomer the gabi that and has no. It's a heisish kinzah. So you can't even say this idea that it's bligvo is expressed in it's unlimited, therefore any mitzvah can come. The guy with this true musik of Ein Sof, it's a mitzvah Ein Sof, the whole musik of mitzvah doesn't exist. Yeah, I'm just saying a dogma. The Alter Rebbe says that it's a deeper kolachshiv. The kolachshiv of one dibur the gabi keach dibur is a different type of kolachshiv than the kolachshiv of dibur the gabi say. Because by the Ace says by dibur the kolachshiv is that it's only one. It's limited. Mashik and the keach is unlimited, and here the kolachshiv is that its quality is nothing. The zach is garnished, not that it's limited. The etzem inyan is not a ma'ila. It's not a mitzias. Yeah, that's not dogma.
It's the same thing as one shtus.
It's not the same. We're saying a dogma. It's not. No, it is etzem word of the rabbi mashpia. It's a word like this that you see just a dogma b'amri. You say l'mashal someone. See the marshal someone You have say some a certain mashpia or whatever mashpia or a certain malamed or whatever it is. So there's a unique sachetzein. It says the Rebbe I don't know, he plays too much jokes or something, so the kids will think that jokes that litzanis is in kedusha, let's say. So the Rebbe never thought such a thing. He never has such a thought in his mind that he's doing it just to bring simcha, let's say. But there could be a unique sachetzein. Someone's going to think that tzchaik is in kedusha. You say, even though in order for something in order a certain anhaga to bring a unique sachetzein, there has to be a certain nekuda in the thing which was guiding him to make such a mistake. If the Rav would be fully serious and there would be no nekuda of it wouldn't be able to make such a unique sachetzein that there was Hagam. So what I'm saying is, even though the Elyon himself is mufshit from the hakshama of the tachtim, but in order for Atzilus to be a mocker, to be mashpia to Metzias Abriya, you can't be a mashpia and a mocker for something if the Atzilus would be totally mufshit from the whole musig of Metzias, then he wouldn't be able to be mashpia to a world of Metzias. He wouldn't be able to relate to a world of Metzias. But the fact that he's able to relate to be mashpia to a world of Metzias, that means that the musig of Metzias is not agefrek by him. And for that, he has to go through a parsa. The mustig of not seichel, he has to be aware of a metzias which is not seichel, and is able to handle it. If Atzilus himself is not that, Atzilus is a lukus mamish. But if Atzilus wouldn't go through a parsa, he wouldn't be able to handle not a lukus. A different mustig of a parsa. Okay, we'll masbrit a little bit more next week. This nekuda. That's Keres HaKolum is Gvul the way it's been Keri Arishin. Not Bli Gvul the way it's Misbata, that is not limited in a specific Gvul. That's Gvul itself. That's Sherish of Gvul. Yeah, Tzilis, Akudim, that's Keres HaKolum is called Keres HaKolum. Here, Ak is not Gvul in its original Sherish. It's the Bli Gvul the way it's Misbata that is not Mugbul in a certain Gvul. That means the Gvul is in. To say that in Vas Gitzachares the Bli Gvul that is not Mugbul specific Gvul, you have to already say that Gvul is an Inyan. Because if his Gvul is nothing, so the Bli Gvul can be expressed in the fact that he's Kedel and he's nice to any Gvul. So Ak is Bli Gvul. But it's Bli Gvul when it's already in a darga where the musik of Gvul is already a Metzias. And therefore you could say that in Vas Bashteit the Bli Gvul, that he's not Mug with any form of Gvul. But first you have to say, but in order to say that, that's when Gvul has to be an Inyan. That's even clearly that's the. Okay, well, then they want to learn again the Gemaimer. Okay, so we'll try to. Yeah, yes. I'm just saying this is just saying some oasis of Bislam Ayin. I'm not saying. You will see later what as was it. You're saying Bifn Klali now. He goes through it later.
Two levels of Gvul inside.
That's what I'm saying. He's saying I'm to say inside. Ak and Ak. We'll see. B'Hamshich.
I'm saying like even from the Tanya, like how does that explain the? So you explained how.
Dibur Machshava, the different darkness. There's different biurim. Yeah, there needs beer. Each one needs beer. Yeah, in details, each one needs beer. But that's already, I'm saying. Gatar has four in Yanam there. Yeah, that needs beer, each one. Yeah. Say there's.
Is this setup okay? So where is that?